So, welcome to all to the next lecture series of the research methodology. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about what is data and why the data is so much important. In today's lecture, we will see different kinds of variation in the data. What are the different kinds of the data? We will discuss with the help of some examples also. So, again, recalling the definition of the data, there is a famous person that is David Buckingham. He had given a definition of a data as data is the new oil. We need to find it, extract it, refine it, distribute it, and monetize it. What does it mean? Of course, uh, data is just like an oil. We are having a crude oil. The crude oil, we are basically doing the refining. We are basically remove the impurities, and after the removal we make it a oil which is efficiently can be used, effectively can be used. Similar is a kind of a data. The data we are having in a mess up form, we have to do the reformation of that data. After the reformation, we have to do the cleaning of the data, and after the cleaning of data, some processes has been applied, and after the processing, of course, we can utilize that data easily and effectively. So same as here mentioned, extract it, refine it, distribute it, and monetize it. So it's a kind of an data also. So now talking about the types of data, we are having the three categorization, that is the structured data, unstructured data, and your semi-structured data. So talking about the first one, that is the unstructured data. As the name declares, unstructured means which is not having any kind of a structure. There is no any proper structural layout which can be declared. The best example for the unstructured data is your internet, the social media sites, your websites. They all are having your unstructured data. The people are throwing large amount of data on the social media sites, your text, your videos, your audios. There is no structure, there is no layout for that. Everyone, anything can put any kind of thing on your internet. Here is an example representation of the unstructured data. It's a paragraphic form representation. Some sentences are mentioned. Now, if I want to do the analysis of this data, what will happen is that I want my system to have the analysis. Of course, the systems are more efficiently working for that part. So when the system will try to work out on this unstructured data, the system will not able to understand what is this text data, what is the numerical data, is it a character data or not, how the matching has been done, how the what kind of analysis is to be done. So some mess up will be done, some mess up will be happening, so the system will not able to understand. So that unstructured data is to be converted into a form of a structured data. The data is unstructured, yes, but we have to convert this unstructured data into the meaningful data by which we can have the by which we can apply the different methodologies or the different processes through which we can have the better decisions or the better solutions from that unstructured data. Yeah, so it's mentioned that in sentences that the university is having has the 5600 students. John ID is number one. He is 18 years old and already holds a BSc degree. David ID is number two. He is 31 years old and holds a PhD degree. Robot ID is number three. He is 51 years old and also holds the same degree as David, a PhD degree. So I cannot analyze the data that what is David ID, what is for example John ID, what is their age, what are their qualification, because it's an unstructured data. We don't know it's a numerical data or a text data. The system of course doesn't know what kind of data it is. So we have to convert it into a proper structured data. Clear? So talking about the semi-structured data, as a pictorial representation in the table has been showing, the block has been showing, of course, it is a kind of a data like your HTML data, your XML files, we can say. It is having the information in little bit structured, not properly purely structured. You can easily see that previously it was having certain sentences. Now these sentences are presented in between the tags. A structure formation has been started, but still we are not able to identify that how many people are of the age 18, or how many people are of age of 31, or how many people are holding the PhD degree, or we are not able to identify the names of the people who are studying from this university, because it's a semi-structured data. The system will not able to understand this kind of data. It will be a complex task for the system, and will often definitely the system, if will try, it will definitely give the results, but it will not able to give you the accurate or precise results. Some information will be definitely missing because it's a semi-structured data. So the most efficient and the fruitful information which can be collected is through the structured data. So the last picture is representing, it is showing a table. In that table, the same information is represented in the tabular representation. We are having the four columns, that is the ID, the name, the age, and your degree. We are having different names of the students who are studying in the universities. We are having the different age representation and the degree they are holding from this university itself. So you can see easily the difference between the unstructured, that the sentences is now being converted it into a proper tabular representation. Now this table can be utilized or can be used by the system, by the software, and we can have the proper analysis. We can simply apply certain queries. We can ask the queries, we can ask the questions to the system regarding this table, and we can get the proper solutions and accurate solutions for that part. So the overall thing is that yes, the data is in unstructured format. The structure is the structure is unstructured. The data is unstructured format. We have to first convert into a structured data, isn't it? So now coming on to the, I hope you get the difference between both the three of them. That is the structured data, the unstructured data, and the semi-structured data. See, remember with the help of an examples. The more examples you will able to recall, the more easily you will get the definition for that. Remember, for the unstructured data, the unstructured data is your internet data. The semi-structured data are your HTML files or the XML tags, or the structured data is your the tabular representation, your RDBMS, your DBMS tables, that is the row and columns. They are your structured data. So hope you will remember all these three examples and you will be able to recall what are the definitions, and you can write by your own itself. Okay. Now, what are the sources of the data? From where we can have that data? Of course, personal data, or your name, your personal information, your PAN card, your Aadhaar card, or your father's name, your mother's name, your siblings, where they are working, your location, your qualification. Each and everything comes under the category of the personal data. So from there also we can have the data. Transactional data, as the name declares, transaction happens in the banking sector. Of course, whatever amount of money you are withdrawing, or you are adding the money, or any kind of banking work you are doing, any transaction has been happening, the transferring of the money from one sender to the one receiver, that each and every transaction has been recorded by the banks, and that data can be collected and can be utilized by the person whosoever is dealing with these kinds of problems or the problem statement. For example, I want to identify which people will take the loan from my bank, isn't it? So what I'll do is that I can identify the previous data which was present in the bank, that which kind of people are usually take the loan. They are the middle aged people, they are the young age people, or they are the senior citizens of that place who are taking the loans frequently. We can check the next attribute as a salary. The salary, the people who are having the salary below 50,000 are taking the loan. The people who are having below 30,000 are taking the loan, or the people who are having salary less than 25,000, they are taking the loan. So these categories can also be utilized. So through that also, this is also a kind of a sources of data, and we can conclude this from your transactional data, that which kind of people can purchase, not purchase of course, the people who will take the loan from your bank. That is your transactional data. Web data, as the name declares, the third one. Web means of course your www, that is your world wide web, where all sort of information has been stored. Every information is present on the web. We say na, Google is the place where we can find each and everything. So so sources of data, yes, we don't know it's an accurate data, it's a correct data or not. We have to do the analysis, we have to identify the results, then we have to conclude that the results which are generated are accurate or not, isn't it? On the behalf of that, we can um, on the behalf of that, we can conclude that the data is incorrect or not. If it's incorrect, we can have some other data, we can have again the analysis, and again we can have the applicable to that data, and we can have the finalization of that data. Okay. Sensor data, as the name declares, sensor means the information captured through the sensors. That RFID cards are present when you're entering in any of your places, or we can say the census information, the biometric identification, they are also sensors working, or the face recognition systems, they are also under the sensors data. And your geospatial data, for examples, in the orbits, number of satellites are present, and through the sensors we are capturing the informations. We are seeing the information, we are collecting the information, we are withdrawing the information, we are doing the analysis of that information. If you remember that, when the China people tried to capture the space of an India, how they are able to identify that China is getting in or taking part of an India. How this can be happen? Is it possible that each in every place one soldier is present, or the India soldiers are present at the border? No, it's not possible. So how they have done? How they came to know that some unusual thing is happening there? They are trying to come in India. They are trying to capture the place of the land of an India. So that was through the sensor data. How sensor data? Because the satellite captured the information. It has taken certain pics or the clicks they have done, capturing the images. That unusual pattern come into the scenario. That unusual pattern showed that there are some people who are entering. If you have seen the tank pictures of the China people were presenting that they have done the comparison of the previous images and the current images, and from the comparison they came to know that some unusual patterns are present. They have done the zooming of that data, and then they conclude that the China army or the China soldiers are entered in the India land, and they are trying to capture that land. And this is how we can have the analysis of our data. Similarly, at the Pakistan border also, we can identify the unusual patterns. We can have all unusual patterns identification, and unusual identifications can help us out to take serious steps, through by which no some other people can get entered in our land, of course. So there, so you came to know, of course, that sensor data is very, very much important in how efficiently and effectively it has been working, isn't it? So, of course, except that these four, there are also many more sources through which we can have the information. That are the four basic, you can say, the places through which we are having the information. Fine. So, talking about the inaccuracies in data. Inaccuracies in data means uh, inaccuracies means some missing values or some incomplete values will create inaccuracy in data. Inaccuracy means there is no accuracy. Accuracy कब नहीं होगी? जब डेटा हमारा incomplete होगा, inconsistent होगा, redundant होगा, isn't it? Maybe it is a duplicate data, inconsistent data हो सकता है, या आपका incomplete data हो सकता है. So we'll see some points for that. Initial data entry, जैसे मैंने आपको पहले भी एग्जांपल दिया था. अगर मैं सेल्स डेटा की बात करती हूँ, मैं सेल्स इन्फॉर्मेशन की बात करती हूँ, I want to have the information from the different branches of my company, where the sales are increased, where the sales are down. So for that part, I want the details from all the companies, all the branches which are there. So the people who are present in those companies, they may, when putting these values, they do the mistake while entering the data. For example, they are putting the 1 lakh. Instead of 1 lakh, one zero is missing. It may get 10,000, isn't it? Or some entries are blank, or some entries are duplicate. So that will create a problem for us. And it may possible that mistakes can be once, twice, or maybe 10 times. If it is 10 times, then definitely the resultant may affect a huge amount. So initial data entry, that is the data entry is a mistake that will create an inaccuracy in data. And of course the flawed data entry processes, of course, which will not accurate, which will not give you the accurate results for the identification of that. Getting my point, isn't it? Next point, it is saying that the null problem, as I declared, there is null values. वैल्यू ही नहीं डली, ब्लॉक ही आपके ब्लैंक है, स्पेस ही आपका ब्लैंक है, आपकी इन वैल्यू. सी when we are talking about a system, when we have to do the analysis of that data, so what the system wants is that first step it does is that it has to be, all the columns and all the rows data should be filled, it should not be kept blank. So for that part, what happens is that we are putting the value which is very much commonly frequently occurring in that row or in that column, isn't it? And we fill those null values. So that is the one methodology. Or the second method says that we can have the mean of that column, and the mean value we can put there itself. Or we can say, we can take the mean of the we create some buckets of the 3 3 values, and we are take outing the mean of that 3 3 bucket values, and we're putting those values in the null space. Of course, there are a number of methods. We will discuss later about these parts. So that is one of the issues in inaccuracies data, which will create a inaccuracy, that is a null problem. It should be removed if you want an accurate data. Deliberate errors, of course error तो होता ही होता है जब हम काम करते हैं systems पे या डेटा के लिए अगर हम कुछ वर्कआउट करते हैं. They do not know the correct information. They do not want you to know the correct information, of course. They do not know the correct information because of course जब information ही आपकी incomplete है, inconsistent है, redundant है, of course they do not have the correct information. They do not want you to know the correct information. Want you to know the correct information, of course, क्योंकि आपके वो जो errors हैं वो ये कई बार ऐसे ऐसे viruses you can get affected by the systems that uh, the malicious activity creates stops you to not to have the solution for that problem. So what they do is that they definitely will fill the garbage value there itself, and definitely we will not able to came to know that which are the columns, which are the rows who are not having the incomplete information or inconsistent information. ओके, सो दे गेट अ बेनिफिट फ्रॉम एंटरिंग द रॉन्ग इन्फॉर्मेशन. ऑफकोर्स आपकी गलत इन्फॉर्मेशन उसमें स्टोर हो जाएगी, जिससे क्या होगा, आपका जो एनालिसिस का जो रिजल्ट है वो गलत निकल कर आ सकता है. So that are your deliberate errors, isn't it? System problems, of course, there are certain problem, hardware problem, software problem, crashing problem, virus problem. So there are a number of system problems which is to be resolved if we want an accurate data. That can also create inaccuracies in data. So thank you so much. Further we will discuss about more about the data collection methods. Thank you to all of you.